Okay, I think I discovered a time capsule. Right here, this little snapshot of page 20 of journal number 2 from 1996. One of the things that I was thinking about was where do people spend money? Because I was, thinking about marketing, and that's kind of this world here. I was really influenced by the one-to-one future, about that idea of advocacy, and I was, of course, thinking about and applying that to how could real estate agents build an advocacy relationship with the people that they're serving. Because when you think about the real estate business, traditionally the brokerage business is really a transactional business, in that you help somebody buy a home and then they get in the home, and then most of the time realtors will just move on and they'll look for somebody else. And even though on exit interview after exit interview, people are asked how the experience was with their realtor, and 84% of them say they would definitely use that realtor again. But less than 25% of the people actually use the realtor that they used last time. And the number one reason that they give for not is that they lost touch with them. And I think that's because there's very little incentive in the minds of the realtors to build a relationship that somebody who you just sold a house to is probably not going to buy another house for at least 5, 6, 7, 10 years. So I get it that we're all very interested in the immediate thing, but I thought that is a very valuable relationship with a consumer. And it's funny because as I'm looking through this now, I mentioned that the reason that all these consolidations now, Rocket Mortgage and all these real estate companies and insurance companies, they all, as one analyst said, are pursuing a first-party relationship with a homeowner, which is the most valuable relationship in America. And as I was looking at this, looking back now from here, from 30 years ahead, 30 years in the future, I realized that I was really onto something with the things that are not going to change. And I predict that these 7 things will survive 30 more years contextually, but the content under them might change. So here's the 7 things that I recognized of where people spend money. The first category is home. That's the largest line item on most people's budget, is everything related to the home. And that means the house itself, the furnishing, maintaining, the improving, all of the stuff, renovations, all the electronics, everything that goes into the home, and household emergencies, things that might that come up to maintain that home. I think that is that's really not going to change. We have enjoyed, as a species, living in homes, and I don't think that that's going to change in the next 30 years. So if we hitch our wagon to that, that's a pretty good, durable industry. The next thing that people spend money on is food. And, we still are biologically human, 100% so far. We're merged with the robots yet. And we require food every day. And we enjoy eating. And one of the biggest line items on people's budgets are their groceries or eating out in restaurants. And I have a client who owned restaurants, and one of the things that we discovered, he had a list of 10,000 homes that were sort of the higher end homes in the city where his restaurants are, and we calculated out that he does 2 servings a day. They're open for lunch and dinner. They're not open for breakfast, but of those 10,000 people, 10,000 households, that represented, if you say 2 people per household on average, that represented 280,000 belly-filling opportunities, BFOs, that's what we started calling it. That when you think about that, is like a constantly renewing opportunity to serve people. There's the food business is definitely changing now. You see what's come along now where there's home food delivery services or meal prepped meals or things where they'll bring the food right to you. And, but the core category is food. Then the next is cars and transportation, if you take it as the big thing. But there's so much of our budget goes into owning and maintaining a car, the car itself, and the repairs on the car, and insurance for the car, and gas for the car, and all of the things that go on that, tires. Detailing, that's certainly a big line item where people spend money. Another one is children. If people are pursuing this children lifestyle, if they have kids, that's gonna require, while the kids are not out earning money, that is a line item on people's budgets, which is, they need clothes, they need books, they need all the activity, everything to do with kids. There's a whole economy just around kids. Money is another category. If you think about debt service and credit cards and financial planning and investments, and I would put business owners in the money category, that people will spend money on their businesses to bring in money, treat that as an asset. Health is another category that we prefer to stay alive. We prefer to be healthy. We are aging as a country. You start to see the baby boomers and the Gen X now are starting to get older, and there's a real shift towards longevity as a thing for where people spend and invest money in health things. And then the final category is me. And that's, the pleasure things, whatever my discretionary things are that you like to do, whether it's entertainment or hobbies or, travel, going to the movies, all those kind of things. And when you think about where everybody talks about AI disrupting things, and I think a better thought is, how can AI enhance things? How can you pair AI to really serve those 7 things? I don't think that those are going to go away. Like, what would you predict is going to change in the next 30 years around home? But, I think we're still going to want to live in homes. We're still going to prefer climate control. We're still going to need plumbing and electricity. Those things haven't changed. Maybe solar will become more of a thing of a source of power, but the general idea is we're still going to want to be housed. And somebody, whether we move from where we currently are right now as a home owning society to a renting society, somebody will own these homes and provide the opportunity for shelter. And I don't think that any of these other things are fundamentally going to really change. What I found was that I think it was over 85% of the money that the average household, the household budget, is spent within 5 or 10 miles of where you are right now. So we think about the opportunity in your local market there. That's why these companies, you see, HVAC companies and home service companies and things that are thriving now as the population grows, but the need for those things is undisruptible. And I think that if we overlay this idea of advocacy on top of this, if we can help people get what they want in any of these categories, and really, if you're in one of these categories, understanding which pillar of that consumption you sit under, and really thinking about how can I, instead of just myopically thinking about the one little spoke in that you provide, how can you elevate out? And that was where my mind was going with the realtors, is what would it look like if the realtors were a home advocate for people, that anything that you needed to do with your home, that somebody was advocating for you. So I think, taking the ideas of the one-to-one future and applying them to whatever category you're in is going to position you for success in the next 30 years.